Okay, the game crashed. I didn't think we lost all that much. We game basically turned to night and that was it. Damaged garden gnome. Uh, so far that was the first crash. If you play this without any kind of alterations, this is actually a very unstable game, and it's nothing to do with, well, not nothing, but it's not the game itself. It's very unstable because the changes that have happened since the game was released. So there you have to do a little bit of patching or changing up settings to make it run reliably on a modern system. But it's not 100% stable, so from time to time we might crash. But I think I've played quite a few hours already into the game and that was the first crash. It just means we might have to save a bit more often now that I'm aware of the threat. More rats. Yeah, luckily the saving process is pretty much undetectable. Yeah, I saved now there. It doesn't stop the game at all, it's just small message gets played at the one of the corners, so I think I'll just start using that a bit more often. So maybe we'll lose, when something crashes, we'll lose a minute or two of progress. Hopefully it doesn't become too common. I have no reason to believe that it will, but there's always some areas that are more crash prone than others. In Skyrim, the original area that you travel in is, I don't think it has ever crashed on me, but one of the expansions to that uh, takes you to a place called Solstheim, and that place crashes for me with a quite a regular basis. So that's just something that happens. In Fallout 3, one of those high crash places was Rivet City originally, so I had to make a specific patch to that to be able to, was it exit Rivet City at all? It crashed with 100% reliability initially, so that's pretty bad. After the patch, it has never crashed, so yeah. I dislike the blood flies. They're not in any real way dangerous, but they're in a constant swing movement, so if you start shooting at them and you don't have all that much accuracy on your weapon, there's some natural spread on a weapon, so it's quite often shoots around the bullet fly. If you're an accurate shot, then naturally you can pretty much hit them very reliably, as long as your weapon is also accurate and your character is accurate. Doesn't do much good if you have perfect aiming as a player if the gun doesn't shoot where you're aiming. Ooh. What the hell is that? It's a small rat. Not sure I want to waste ammunition on a mole rat. And I lost sight of it. Lovely. That's a bad thing. Canterbury Commons. We can already see that. No, it's not quite there. We can see something. There's the mole rats. There are additional mole rats. There's a floating bush. Geometry is not perfect in these games, but for the most part it looks okay. Sometimes there's floating this or that here and there. It's an immersion breaker, but it's kept to a level that it doesn't really bother me. What really bothers me as far as immersion breakers are concerned is the internal logic of the game gets broken. You can have all kind of fantastical worlds you want, as long as it keeps to its internal logic. I don't really mind that at all, no matter how crazy the rules are. But when it stops basically obeying its own rules, then I just give up. If the game isn't gonna give a shit, neither am I. Usually it's something like you have a bad writer for the game. I think something that bothered me was, for example, in Dragon Age, it's a fantasy role-playing game by BioWare. So there was a big deal about the magic system in the game, and I read the rules about how magic works. So there were certain rules that you could not do. It just wasn't possible to do, and one of those rules was there's no teleportation, and it just isn't possible to teleport in through magic. So naturally, when you encounter caster enemies, they're teleporting all over the place. So yeah, it's I don't mind allowing teleportation, but if you're going to make a specific rule about the game that just isn't possible, stick to the goddamn rules. It's I think what happens in a situation like that is that you have one group of people making up fascinating lore and creating rules, then you have people in charge of gameplay and who have no real knowledge of that, and just having a spellcasting opponent that teleports around to protect itself is pretty standard fare in a fantasy setting. So they probably just trying to make an interesting encounter, ignoring the fact that the people writing the lore sort of told the players that it's actually impossible to do. That sort of thing annoys me quite a bit, and it breaks the rules. You can't really get immersed in a world like that where people write up all these rules of the world and then immediately go and break them themselves. Floating bushes are nothing compared to something like that, as far as I'm concerned. How can I get up there? There's definitely Canterbury Commons somewhere there. Yeah, just need to figure out a way to climb there. Fudge. That's an explosion. What's going on? Apparently an explosion. What happened here? Robot Repair Center. Usually there's residual radiation if something like a car gets exploded. There are a lot of people here, so maybe it did happen here. No, these are ants.
You'll never get away with terrorizing this town. Not while it's under the protection of the Mechanist.
You and your pathetic tin cans are no match for my army.
The citizens of this town have nothing to fear. The Mechanist is here to protect them.
Ha! We'll see about that. Attack, my ant soldiers. Destroy this fool and his tin toys.
Go forth, my steadfast creation.
What the fuck?
Face it, Mechanist. Humans and their toys are done for. They killed themselves off with their petty wars.
Humans may be weak sometimes, but our creations are strong and pure. Something you'll never be.
Fool! Humanity's creations were the seeds of their undoing. And now, the world will belong to the Antagonizer.
You have discovered the Antagonizer's lair. Enter buried down tunnels. Ah. Yeah, I had forgotten about this. Frankly, I still don't remember this. I remember the characters.
Good to see you.
Antagonizer and the Mechanist. So one lives in the case, one lives in the robot factory. I think we need someone sane to talk to about this. Yeah, that's where the robots are going. Ah. We'll see what we can access while still night.
Are you alright? You aren't hurt, are you? I'd like to apologize for the rude welcome. Those two have been a bit of a problem lately. Name's Rowe. Uncle Rowe to most. Welcome to Canterbury Commons. For what that's worth.
Yeah, what was that all about?
The, Mechanist and the Antagonizer. That's just what they call themselves. It's ridiculous, I know. A while ago, we were attacked by the Antagonizer, that woman with the ants, obviously. The Mechanist saved the town with his robots. Well, that was all well and good, but I swear their fights are getting bigger, and it's been driving off the merchants. They simply won't leave.
Huh. How much would a solution be worth to you?
200 caps if you can find where the Antagonizer and the Mechanist hide and convince them to stop their rivalry or otherwise stop fighting. You only need to stop one of them, really. Nowadays, I think they only stay in Canterbury to fight each other. So what do you say?
Double that.
I'm afraid that won't do, friend. Are you sure you won't take the generous offer I've already made?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Great! I'm relieved to know the situation will be quickly resolved. Let me know if I can be of assistance to you. Oh, and please, do try to use some discretion. We already have plenty of would-be heroes starting wars in the streets. We don't need another.
Tell me about Canterbury Commons.
Ha! Damn near everything, I suspect. I founded the place myself, and I'm the reason this place stays fat and happy.
How? No, why do the traders come here?
Because I asked them to, I suspect. I grew up in these trade caravans, known most of them my whole life. I founded this place with my sister Daisy back in the day. Perfect stop along the caravan circuit.
How organized are the traders?
They're just small caravans that make rounds through the wastes, hawking their wares from Paradise Falls to Rivet City. They won't trade with anyone who's hit their friends, but that's about as organized as they get.
Have you thought about organizing them? I'm not sure where I'm going with this.
I had thought about it, but some of these wasteland traders, well, they aren't exactly the organizational type. It'd take a pretty savvy businessman to make it worth their while to work together. Frankly, I'm not sure even I'm up to the task.
Ooh, Black Widow option! Oh, I'm sure a charismatic fellow like you can get them to follow your lead.
Madam, you flatter me. I'm but a humble man of this small community. But since it's a trader community, I suppose I can call in a few favors with the caravans. I suppose I am rather persuasive in that way. So you just let me know what you'd like to see from the caravans, and I'll let them know what to focus on.
No. Let's talk about weapons.
Then you'd be looking for Lucky Harith, adventurer, martial artist, and occasional collector of the most deadly items known to mankind. He's a bit of an eccentric, but he deals in more weaponry than you can shake a sharp stick at. In fact, he's probably got a sharp stick, too.
I can manipulate who gets expanded inventory, so I don't want to do that now because I have no idea what they have.
Sure thing.
Armor.
Our man Crow handles most armor and clothing out on the trail. He grew up a tribal, but he traded in his loincloth for much snappier apparel long ago. Sure thing.
Food and chems.
Ah, then you'll be wanting Doc Hoff, or the Good Doctor, as he prefers. He prescribes everything from a good meal to stim packs to things that'll make your brain get up and dance. Sure thing.
Do you have any traders that deal with miscellaneous goods?
That'd be Crazy Wolfgang. He does repairs and general supplies, but he prefers to call himself a junk dealer. As he says, he's overjoyed to assist those who have a deep need for his junk. He's just like that. Says it catches people's attention. All right, you're the boss.
Needing to trade around here.
You can usually find one of the trade caravans at the entrance to town. They come through every day or two. Other than them, Porter's always got food for sale down at the diner.
What else is in this town?
Glad to help, glad to help.
Where do the caravans set up?
When they're in town, you can find the caravan trader out front of the town. They say it's a good way to catch a visitor's eye.
Food.
You'll want to talk with Joe Porter over in Dot's Diner. I don't know who Dot was, but I'm sure Porter's food does her memory proud. Enjoy!
Let's talk about Antagonizer and the Mechanist.
If it'll help, I'm glad to.
What can you tell me about the Antagonizer?
One day there was a crazy woman leading a bunch of ants into town. She said humanity was dead and the ants would inherit the earth, stuff like that. Well, that gave Dom plenty of time to line up a shot or two on the ants. She ran away, but every once in a while she'd stage an attack again. She wasn't much of a threat then. In fact, she was sort of entertaining at first. Gave everyone in town something to talk about. But when the Mechanist started fighting her, things got bad. Ants are easy to shoot, but add robots with lasers, it got real nasty.
Okay, what about the Mechanist?
The Mechanist used to be our town mechanic, Scott Walensky. Quiet guy, but plenty fierce with a wrench and some solder. Guy used to take care of a robot that protected the town until it got torn up in one of the Antagonizer's lame little attacks. I guess he took it personal because he made a mechanical suit and called himself the Mechanist, said he would lead a robot army to fight her. Now he doesn't even respond to his name, and his robot army is more dangerous to the town than the ants ever were.
Okay, do you know anything that could help me to stop them?
My nephew Derek might know more about them. I swear it's all I can do to keep him from running into the fight whenever they come out. He might know more about where you can find them, but don't encourage the poor boy. He's had enough close calls. I most heartily agree. Good luck with those two troublemakers.
I don't know what to say about this. Better not say anything until I find out about more. Uncle Rose's house. My armor might be in a pretty bad condition. No. I sort of imagine, since I almost died from the grenade barrage, that it might damage the armor too quite heavily, but apparently not. Nothing really interesting here.
Whatever you can do to help our town, we'd appreciate it.
Lucky Harriet's local inventory. Joe Porter's safe. Requires a key.
It's locked.
Tarkov's local inventory. Crow's local inventory. Local inventory, local inventory.
Excuse me. Oh man, did you see it? Did you see it? The Antagonizer was all like, "Fear me!" But the Mechanist was all, "Stop, evildoer!"
Yeah, what can you tell me about them?
The Antagonizer, she's this evil supervillain who's trying to wipe out humans with her ants. And the Mechanist protects us with his robots. And when they fight in town, it's incredible! There's all these lasers and biting and blood, and it's crazy! And then my uncle says I need to stay inside. He says it's dangerous. This is serious business, Derek.
Those guys must really liven up the place, huh? Anyone ever get hurt?
You think they're neat too, huh? It's not like they ever hurt anyone. Well, not like really badly hurt or anything. Dom and Machete make sure that everyone gets inside when they fight like that. Though, sometimes I sneak out to watch. The traders and the slavers and the raiders, they don't like the Antagonizer or the Mechanist. They say they're bad for business. But that's dumb. The ants and the robots rip them to shreds. That shows them.
Yeah.
You mean the superheroes? Yeah. I'll try to watch all of their fights.
Tell me about the Antagonizer.
I don't know much about her except she really, really doesn't like people. That's kinda cool. I mean, sometimes people are jerks. I think her lair is somewhere in the caves to the north of the city. I've seen her ants down there once in a while. Joe Porter said he found out something about her, but my uncle won't let him tell me. He says don't encourage the poor boy.
What about the Mechanist?
I knew the Mechanist back when he was just a normal hero. He used to be called Scott. Then he fixed up stuff around town. But one day, the Antagonizer killed his favorite robot, and I told him he ought to fight back against her like a real superhero. Ever since then, he's been up on his forge, and the back of the robot shop on the hill, working to protect us all from the Antagonizer.
I don't know if I should. I shouldn't ask him to ways to stop them because he probably doesn't want to.
Well, okay.
What do you know about the town?
It's okay, I guess. I heard it's safer than most places, because the raiders don't bother us. But I've never been anywhere else, so I don't know. Say hi to the Mechanist for me.
I don't want to extend my visit here too much. This wasn't what we came here for initially. We came for the goddamn minefield. Might as well at least take a look at the local traders. I do want some kind of a heavy weapon. It can't be a missile launcher either. The ammunition is too scarce and too expensive. Has to be something else.
Just stumbled into town? You sure picked a fine day for it, with the crazies out there. Here, have a drink on the house. Welcome to Canterbury. I'm Joe Porter. I make sure folks around here can get a meal when they need it.
Thanks, Joe. Looks like a pretty nice place here.
We do our best. Well, Dom and Ro do their best. I just make sure they've got enough food so they can keep on doing their best. You ever find yourself starving around here, drop by Dot's Diner. We don't charge much, but don't expect any more freebies.
Do you know anything about the Antagonizer and the Mechanist?
You mean apart from having cheesy names? Actually, I think I might know something useful. One of the traders told me she sounded like a girl he used to know. Girl's whole family was wiped out by ants. Not long before she showed up here. But they never found any trace of her body. Said her name was Tanya Kristoff. That might just be our little antagonizer.
So we got her name.
Bye.
With our speech skill, I don't feel all that comfortable trying to talk to the crazies. I can't even convince sane people to do any minor things, so I don't really trust my ability to convince the crazier ones to do something. Workbench. All kept mine. We don't know how to make any weapons yet. Need a blueprint for that, or schematic. Oh. Thanks for the free weapons, I guess. Combat knife. Railway spikes. Dean's Electronics, that's a skill book. I think that's repair. Yeah, repair +2. You could call it quantum. I think we'll take the quantums. They seem to be a bit of a rarer item and somewhat valuable. Machete.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy?
Yeah, real busy. Yeah. I'm new in town. What is this place?
This is Canterbury Commons, where dirty old lechers get rid of everything they picked up on the road. Unless it's not treatable, that is. And I'm Machete. Dom and me make sure nobody starts anything stupid in town. Keep that in mind, okay?
Anything about Antagonizer, Mechanist?
I know Dom doesn't want me just killing them. He and the Mechanist used to be friends or something. All I know is, next time they come to town, I bet I could solve the whole problem with one bullet for each of them.
Tell me about the town.
This whole place would fall apart if it weren't for Dom and me keeping anyone from causing too much trouble. Fat old Roe may think he runs the place, but it's only because Dom lets the idiot.
So they're the muscle here. Where is Dom? Who is Dom? Are you Dom? You look like you could be a Dom. Dom? Or are you a trader?
Yes?
No, you're Dom.
Newcomer to town, huh? Well, I'm Dominic Delasadro, and welcome to Canterbury Commons. Try to ignore the idiots in the costumes. Popular activities around town are trading, listening to Roe yap, and burying thieves in unmarked graves. Of course, we ran out of thieves to bury long ago. Saw to it myself. Might be a dead art, unless you're planning on stealing anything.
No worries.
Sounds like a good plan. Keeps the traders happy that way. And it means Machete and I get to save on ammo.
Yeah, your opinion on the town.
Canterbury's a good town. Roe's done a damned good job setting up the place, and no one can handle the day-to-day details like him. But when it comes to the big stuff, that's when he needs a little help. That's where I come in.
Okay, what do you mean the big stuff?
Life and death matters. Putting down thieves. Protecting people from raiders who are short-sighted or stupid enough to attack, that sort of thing. Pretty much. Anything the man can't solve by talking at it. And don't misunderstand. He can solve a lot of things that way.
How did you get this position?
I'm about the rarest thing out here in the wastes. A mercenary who lived long enough to retire. I used to sell my services around here, so it was a natural place to settle down. Not a bad sort of retirement, honestly.
Yeah, you must be very good then.
If you're done asking questions, I'm sure there's something I should be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, Antagonizer and the Mechanist.
Roe hired you to put a stop to their shit, did he? Guess he finally listened when I told him I haven't got the time to do it myself. It's easy enough to hide inside when those two square off, but they're only getting worse about it all.
Okay, Antagonizer.
I don't know who she is, other than a crazy with an ant suit and a chip on her shoulder for humanity. She wasn't much trouble by herself, really. Her attacks were a joke, but at least stories of her kept some of the raiders at bay. If it helps, she was always attacking from the warrens up north. Maybe you can find her ant nest in there.
Okay, but what about the Mechanist?
You mean Scott Walensky? I refused to call him by that ridiculous name just because his head got a screw loose. He used to be a damn good friend, and not just because he fixed my guns up. Now he spends all his time up in that bot shop, just thinking about fighting that Antagonizer. Hardly even recognizes his own name anymore.
Know anything that could help me to stop them?
If you could just make either one of them stop fighting, it'd do the trick. You probably wouldn't have to worry about the other one. I can't imagine Scott attacking the town with his robots, and that Antagonizer girl was never much more than a sideshow freak by herself. Ro may prefer that you're thorough, but all I care about is that you get the job done, one way or the other. Fine by me.
I'm leaving.
I'll be watching you.
Yep. Ah, daytime coming. I still want to visit any traders there are here. Should be one. Where is the man? Always a trader here. Except when I'm visiting, naturally. Ah, crap. What's our weight? 120. And 9. Yeah. I think I'm satisfied with this. We'll head for the minefield next. I'm not going to start with the Antagonizer and Mechanist crap right now. I'm not confident in my speech skill. And I can't see things going very well without some sort of ability in speech. So yeah. At least it's another potential trading spot, but not available at the moment. Ah, never been attacked. This is why I like to use the sneaking mode, because it's impossible to be oblivious to these attacks when you're sneaking. Very easy to not be aware of them if you're not. Okay, let's start our trek towards Minefield.